A week ago, the Israeli government took a historic step to strengthen control over archaeological and environmental oversight in Judea and Samaria. Now, this is the area often called the West Bank, but it is the heart of Israel. It is the central to their identity and to their history. Now, they've created a new civilian authority to protect Jewish heritage sites and prevent further destruction. I've talked about this before, but last time I was in Israel, I was at Joshua's altar, which is in an area of Palestinian control, and they have actually bulldozed part of this historic site. Because this action follows decades of looting, unauthorized construction, and, as I mentioned, damage to many of these sites in Judea and Samaria. Now, Israeli officials say the move is essential to halt the systematic erasure of Jewish history, while critics warn it expands Israel's authority in the so-called West Bank. Well, in a parallel step, the government has authorized the first land registration process in the territory since 1967. Now, that's when Jordan was in control, and then after the '67 war, Israel has been in control of that area. Joining me now to discuss this and more, Dr. David Wurmser. He is a senior analyst for Middle East policy at the Center for Security Policy. Dr. Wurmser, welcome back to Washington Watch. Thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me. It's an honor, pleasure.
Now, this comes even after President Donald Trump has made repeated comments that he does not want to see Israel annex more of this area. Technically, this is not annexation, but they are increasing their control over this area that the international community wants to take from them.
Well, yes, President Trump is in part, I think, relating it to the idea that either the Saudis may be on the verge of making peace, and also that it could complicate our relations with supposed allies like Qatar and Turkey. Now, that is changing. Qatar and Turkey are not acting like allies, really, especially not vis-a-vis Israel. And the Saudis are distancing themselves more from the peace process or from making peace with Israel. So some of the overarching reasons for Israeli self-restraint on this issue are, from the Israeli point of view, beginning to go away. But there's something else going on too, which is, it really is buried very heavily, not deeply, it's intertwined very heavily with what you teed up at the beginning. Lots of activities were going on by the Palestinian Authority that were very dangerous. First of all was the destruction of archaeological sites. And if anybody's ever been to the West Bank, there are fairly dense Palestinian towns, but very few of them. And much of the area is empty. And in some of those areas are some of these incredibly important archaeological sites. You mentioned Joshua's altar, which from everything we're hearing is not only really Joshua's altar, but they're beginning to find some incredible things in that area. We have Shiloh, we have Sebastian, we have a number of Bethel. You just leaf through the Bible, and this is the heartland. So there are going to be archaeological sites everywhere, and they are being destroyed. And what's disturbing is these are not in the middle of urban areas that need that space to expand. Again, most of the area is empty. They choose these sites because they know that it puts a dagger in the heart of Jewish and Christian history, and essentially begins to erase Jewish and Christian history in the area. Then we have the issue of illegal construction. There's massive illegal construction going on by the Palestinian Authority, which is really a strategic battleground. Geography is the heartland, the strategic core of Israel. And where you put buildings, where you put cities, where you put corridors, really is what dominates the land. And the Palestinians have been building like crazy, while the Israelis for the last 20 years have again and again and again been in essentially a settlement freeze. So this battleground is fought by one side. That plus the fact that it was obsolete. There was a Jordanian law that was passed in 1953 that stripped previous Jewish landowners of their rights and was really designed to block any non-Muslim from acquiring or holding any land, let alone selling it to a non-Muslim. And that law
Dr. Wurmser, I want to go back to something you said about erasing, Jewish and Christian history. Yes, that is a part of the history, but it's also more about the identity and the connection with the land, is it not?
Oh, absolutely. This is the cradle of Christianity and the cradle of Judaism. You erase that. What you do is essentially, then you turn around and
Yes.
you start getting into the very issue that the Palestinians go, which they say, listen, the Jews really don't belong to this land. The Christians really don't belong here.
That's the goal.
This is a Muslim land from day one. So, but to say that, they have to erase your identity.
Right.
And that's
Right.
part of their overall war.
I mean, this is a form of cultural genocide, is what this is. But it's not. But it's not just the Palestinians. This has been aided by the international community, and in particular the United Nations. I mean, for instance, I was there just last year, about 6 months ago. I was there, and most of the time I spent in Judea and Samaria, all the sites that you just mentioned. One I went to was Hebron, which is the ancient city that Abraham bought the field of Machpelah to bury his wife Sarah. UNESCO in 2017 designated the Cave of the Patriarchs, where the patriarchs and matriarchs are buried, as a Palestinian World Heritage Site, utilizing the Arabic name and completely eliminating the historic reference to the Jewish people.
Absolutely. And with that, the origins of Christianity and Judaism. So, yes, you're right. Hebron, they've renamed Al Khalil and they've called it a Palestinian site, even though there were no Palestinians there that made it a historic site. You have the Temple Mount itself, where there was some destruction going on over the last 20, 30 years. And they also, UNESCO also labeled that, including the Western Wall, the retaining wall of the temple. They labeled that a Palestinian patronage site.
It's incredible what's happening, but fortunately, Israel is taking steps to push back. Dr. Wurmser, we're out of time. I want to thank you for joining us. Appreciate your insights. He was an advisor to the former Vice President Dick Cheney, who was big on Israel.